everybody. This is painting one, and this is part of our kit that I gave you. This is the watercolor kit. I gave you a sketchbook. I gave you some heavy paper. This is heavy watercolor paper. I gave you some medium paper. This is not going to be as thick, and you're going to be able to feel this. And you'll feel it's not as thick. It's kind of like, this is what I want us to use most of the time. And this is our really good paper. So this is going to be kind of the same paper as this. It's just these are two different sizes. So this is what I want us to hold aside and not use. But this is our good paper, and we'll get a chance to use that as soon as possible. But this here is our student grade paper, so this is what we get to practice on and get to use as much as we can, because this is, it doesn't cost nearly as much. I gave you guys a pencil, and I gave you a little squirty pipette, and I gave you a tin, and in the tin you're going to see that there is some different little squirts of paint in some of your tins. A lot of you don't have white, which is fine. Some of you may have a little bit of white. Mine doesn't have any white because I really don't believe in white for watercolor, but your paper's white. So we'll talk about that another time. If you were almost out of yellow, I gave you a more expensive yellow. So all the ones that I've squirted in here are actually much more expensive than the ones that are in the tin. So I'm going to start replacing these. The lid is actually a mixing tray, and then I also gave you an extra mixing tray, and this mixing tray is only for watercolor. So it's only for these. And as we get into hybrid, where we're going partly to school and partly, that's when we're going to use our time to refill and remix and get more colors. So you're going to need to bring parts of your kits to school, okay? At least the paints that we're using. I gave you a brush kit, and this particular brush kit I like because it has multiple different brushes in it. You get a chance to use different brushes, and we're going to get to use, they have lots of rounds and it has a couple flats. I also have some bigger brushes, but I wanted to wait till we got used to them before I just started giving them out. I have more brushes on order. And the other thing I want to show you is you're going to need a water container, and rather than trying to fill the bags up, it can be any container that holds water. I have a glass one. I like glass because they're easy to clean, but I don't want you to bring glass to school. Plastic tends to sometimes hold the color, so you may have trouble cleaning it. The other thing is you'll want, if you don't want to use these for palettes, you can use any lids that you find. Any plastic lids will work great for a palette. We started doing this, and this just works great. We can use these for watercolor, we can use them for acrylic, so start collecting your lids. You're going to want to use them. As many lids as you can. I did not go over the acrylic paints, and I had some more big paper, but the other thing I gave you is I gave you a sketchbook. So this is a sketchbook I made for you. It has a hardback, which is either made of cardboard, chipboard, or it's made of mat board. Depending on what I had, I cut them down to size, and then this is our medium student grade watercolor, so you can use that to make your design. And then inside I have 18 to 20 sheets of drawing paper that we're going to be able to use. If you're very light with the watercolor, you can paint on it, but usually it's just to draw your designs on. The staples will come out, so this can be rearranged if you need to, but for now I put tape on the back, so when you come to school and bring your kit, I will tape it for you. That is the overview for our kit. The little cups of paint are our acrylic, and I will go over that in another video, but this is our watercolor setup. I would love if you have a Sharpie. We don't really use that for watercolor. I just happen to have it for our cover in case you want to use it for your cover. If you get a chance to go to school and you want a Sharpie, we'll use it. I may not use it for mine yet, but I know some people did, and I did not have enough of them come in yet to pass them all out, so that might be another option for your cover. Okay, you want to avoid right now, well, not necessarily, but if you have, you know, let's see if I have them over here, markers, like Crayola markers, they kind of work for watercolor right now for our cover. So if you anything like these, they may work. So if you haven't picked up your kit and you want to do something with us, we may be able to use that. I will show that in probably a separate little video. Okay, that's all for now, and I will be back in a few minutes.